Good morning to everyone. Well, in this occasion, I will read the Majjhima Nikaya number 7, and I will use the Bhikkhu Bodhi translation. I'll share with you now the screen. So it's the simile of the cloth. It's very interesting sutta that have this different subject in it, but I'm interested in describe or comment the 16 impurities or defilements. So we're going to start to read. Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Sawati in Sheta's Grove and at the Pindika's Park. There he addressed the bhikkhus thus: Bhikkhus, venerable sir, they replied, the Blessed One said this: Bhikkhus, suppose a cloth were defiled and stained, and a dyer dipped it in some dye or other, whether blue or yellow or red or carmine, it would look poorly dyed and impure in color. Why is that? Because of the impurity of the cloth. So too, when the mind is defiled and unhappy, an unhappy destination may be expected. Because suppose a cloth were pure and bright, and a dyer dipped it in some dye or other, whether blue or yellow or red or carmine, it would look well dyed and pure in color. Why is that? Because of the purity of the cloth. So too, when the mind is undefiled, a happy destination may be expected. Sorry. So here the Buddha, in this statement, the Buddha is explaining two different, we can say, two different bases in which, depending upon we are going to act or talk, uh, this will be the future destination. So the Buddha is already seeing this, that the mindset is really important regarding our present and future. So here the Buddha starts to describe the impurities. What, bhikkhus, are the imperfections that defile the mind? Covetousness and unrighteous greed is an imperfection that defiles the mind. Ill will, anger, resentment, contempt, insolence, envy, avarice, deceit, fraud, obstinacy, rivalry, conceit, arrogance, vanity, negligence is an imperfection that defiles the mind. Knowing that covetousness and unrighteous greed is an imperfection that defiles the mind, a bhikkhu abandons it. Knowing that ill will and the other ones is an imperfection that defiles the mind, a bhikkhu abandons it. When a bhikkhu has known that covetousness and unrighteous greed is an imperfection that defiles the mind and has abandoned it, when a bhikkhu has known that ill will and the other impurities are an imperfections that defiles the mind and has abandoned it, he acquires unwavering confidence in Buddha. Thus, this Blessed One is accomplished, full enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, knower of the worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. So, we can see we have here the 16 imperfections, and the first one, and covetousness and unrighteous greed. So what is this? Is when the mind is become so obsessed about uh, ambitious and about wanting something that lead us to feel, first of all, the contraction in our mind, and this lead us to feel uh, a, f- uh, a, f- a feel that is give us the sensation that we lack of something, but this void of this lackness, I don't know if that word exists in English, is just craving. And generally, when we feel covetousness, is that we want to complete or fulfill this void that we feel inside of us. The reality is that there is nothing, there is no void inside of us. It's just that we take personally some feeling and we don't like it, and we try to change that painful feeling and that reaction, and try to fulfill with something pleasurable that void. This is because we take personally the feeling, uh, or painful feeling or pleasure feeling. So when this kind of obsessive mind arises, when this kind of covetousness arises in the mind, it's a clear example that we have lost our mindfulness and we already take personally, and we start to act from that state of mind. And that, of course, will bring us a lot of suffering and pain. Because generally, when we have such ambition, the ambition also has great expectation, and it's very, very hard to fulfill that kind of expectation. So the insatisfaction, the suffering is already there. So we have to be very careful, because sometimes this covetousness is also fueled with some kind of justification. I want that, I really want that because, and then start our stories about why I need so badly that thing, or that any kind of object that arises in our six sense basis, a food, a song, even a jhana could also, or even nibbana could also arise as an object of desire and an obsession. So we have to 6 hours and relax, and it's okay that we have some aims or goals, but when we are aware of that, we just let it that go and back to the present moment with a gentle and open mind, and we already set our direction. So we don't need to keep in push, and because that will fuel this kind of ambition and covetousness. The second one, ill will. Well, ill will, we already talk a lot about ill will, and ill will is regarded the four: ill will, anger, resentment, contempt, and insolence are somehow different aspect of the aversion. So ill will is could could go from a mild irritation to full blown anger. Anger is the manifestation of the ill will, and it's a very uh, unwholesome feeling, because not only from when the anger is manifests, uh, is very painful for the others, but also for ourselves. The anger consumes a lot of energy, and the remedy for both of these is apply the 6 R's and back to metta. Metta is really, really the remedy for ill will and anger. Because when we feel this loving kindness, first of all, when we return to the loving kindness through the 6 R's, we don't take things personally. So that is very important. And then our mind will start to feel more light and uplifted. And we can see also maybe this allow us to see the things with a different angle. If our mind is imbued with loving kindness, we can see maybe we can see the condition of the moment. If we can see the condition of the moment, we don't take that personally. So this is because the Buddha statement before the previous statement. Uh, so uh, when the mind is undefiled, a happy destination may be expected. This is the instruction, the main instruction of all the sutta. Unhappy destination may be expected, or happy destination may be expected, depending upon where or how is the mind in the present moment. And this is very important because here, with these 16 imperfections, we just have a list that allow us to observe more easier way, uh, where is our mind attached, or what is the tendency, the habitual tendency of our mind. Resentment um, is a really destroying, self-destroying feeling. Why? Because the resentment, I remember in Spanish is resentimiento. In the same word is the description of the feeling, resentment. Uh, in Spanish, resentimiento is like if we say in English, refeeling. Feel again and again and again, refeeling. So resentment is feeling the same feeling again and again and again, and this brings a lot of bitterness in our mind. It's very destructive. So we have to be very careful, because sometimes this resentment is under the surface, and we don't aware uh, we don't pay attention, because sometimes our habitual tendency is not to recognize this anger or this ill will, and we just justify that ill will, and our habitual tendency is to repress that ill will. If we continue to repress our anger and our ill will, the resentment will have the condition to arise. And this is very destructive. So we have to understand that the negation, denied the ill will or the anger will be the condition for our resentment arises. So this is very important. We have to be aware of what is going on in our mind in the present moment. And then we have to apply the 6 R's. So the first R, recognize, is really important. This is the same with contempt. It's very important to recognize that there are some defilements that maybe are more vivid is the word. I feel ill will and arise immediately, but the resentment is something like it was fermenting over and over and over the time. The contempt share this characteristic, and this bring to the mind uh, a lot of bargain. The mind turns to be heavy, heavier, heavier, and this eventually could bring some depression and some other states of mind that are really, really painful. So again, mindfulness is our allied, is our friend, gentle friend, and the 6 R's, the right effort, is the the advice for any of these imperfections. Then we have insolence. All right, this is has to do with lack of respect. So this lack of respect is sometimes rooted. Some young people tend to be insolent, but they are trying to push their limits and our limits too. So we have to be very aware of this and be open. But it's also this imperfection could arise in any mind. Insolence generally is rooted in conceit. So somehow I am have some kind of identification with with my own opinion and with my own view. And if someone that maybe is my teacher or my father, mother, or someone else who somehow is teaching me something, I want to demonstrate to them that I'm capable or I am good, or I am good staying on my own feet or whatever might be. So insolence has also rooted not only in conceit but also in ill will. Uh, so and anger too. So the relationship in this there are nuances in these imperfections. We have uh, the five hindrances: doubt, sensual desire, ill will, um, anxiety or restlessness, and sloth and torpor. And here we found some nuances between them. Insolence is part rooted in conceit, part rooted in ill will, and also generally this insolence will bring us a lot of conflicts in our life. Envy. Well, envy is another aspect that we can describe as want what other people have or what other people achieve. The envy is also rooted in conceit and is a very destructive feeling too. And the remedy for that is mudita. I do. I did some research about the four Brahma Viharas. Apparently, uh, Metta, Karuna, and Upekkha, loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity, these three are previous to the Buddha's time. But apparently, mudita, this empathetic joy, uh, was developed during the time of the Buddha. So it's very interesting because mudita, that is the feeling to be happy for the for the happiness of the other. So I am happy because you are successful, is the remedy for the envy. This and the next one, avarice, is a very important aspect and are the counterpart of the generosity. A mind who a mind where the generosity is the main state of mind, is the main attitude. Envy and avarice doesn't have the condition to arise. So when we are generous with ourselves, we turn to be generous with the other. And here, avarice too is a very painful feeling because there's always behind the avarice the feeling of fear. I I'm afraid of not have enough to share with the others. So this brings a lot of contraction in our mind. One of the most beautiful things that a person could do is start to meditate. Because when we give us the possibility to meditate, we are being generous with ourselves. And if our mind start to growth and develop towards the the nibbana, towards the noble path, we start to feel little by little more generous, more open. And this is very important because we affect the world with our thoughts, words, and actions. And we start to feel that we don't have the need to defend ourselves of anything. We radiate loving kindness to everyone, and is our mindset. And this is very important because the loving kindness is not mine, it's not from the other person, it's just a feeling that arises during because causes and conditions. And then I can give without barrier to everyone. So the continuous practice of metta or karuna, mudita or upekkha are the remedy for envy and avarice. Then we have deceit or and fraud. Well, here deceit and fraud are two imperfections that are related. Deceit is um, misguided. It's not misguided. It's a deceit is generally related with lie to someone or lie to ourselves, and the fraud is another nuance of deception. So these two are very dangerous because a mind that used to have the habit to lie is also a mind that have to build a different story from reality. And when this happened, and this happened during a lot of years, I think that this is one of the conditions for the madness, because the mind is so get used so to lie and lie over and over and again that the mind has to build new realities, new fantasies. And when I want to remember what is the reality and what is my story, I can't find a solid ground to base on. Because I don't remember what was the real thing and what was my invention. So the mind starts to feel confused and we start to mistrust for we don't trust in ourselves or even we don't trust in others. And of course, this is a very painful feeling when this happened because many, we lost mindfulness. We lost the possibility to remember to observe how mind's attention move. I am so confused that I don't know what is real and what is not. Of course, this is an the extreme of what I talking about. But here the Buddha is this sutta is talk about this. So if I have my mind defiled by this imperfection and I continue cultivating this imperfection, this could happen. Then we have obstinacy, or I think that the other possibility is stubbornness. So this also have to is related to our attachment to uh, our personal view or Sakaya Ditti, personal view. And this also is some is regarding to with the fear to lost our maybe reputation. It depends upon the environment where I for example, in the work, I have some opinion about something, and other a coworker maybe challenge my opinion, and maybe the coworker, my coworker, has a very good uh, opinion, very practical, but I am so attached to my opinion that I became stubborn about my opinion. I don't want to let it go because my opinion is who I am. And this is also very painful feeling. And because I am attached and I have craving for this, for my opinion, obstinacy will arise. This also generally is the ground for fights and quarrels. So is the next one, rivalry. Here, rivalry. I think that I read another translation that is competitiveness. I don't know if I spelling right, but rivalry is also is rooted in conceit. Many of this is rooted in conceit. All of these 16 imperfection have the rooted in conceit. But the rivalry also imply that I want to win to the other, or and that also could uh, arise from these different intensities. Maybe I can feel some small, or in the martial arts, sometimes say to a friendly rivalry. It's what happened inside the dojos, a friendly rivalry. You have friends and you maybe do the sparring with them, and there are laughs, and they try to to apply the technique one to the other, but always is very friendly. So this is one kind of rivalry, friendly rivalry, that is have the goal to that both people grow as practitioners. But when we go to a different level and we try to uh, submit is not the word. We try to win at all cost. We start to feel again the craving, the very powerful craving, and the ambition we take our mind, and we start to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Then we have conceit. Conceit is one of the higher fetters, and we have to have time. Conceit is the mind that is comparing things, manas. So it's the mind that sometimes will try to feel superior to something. sometimes we try to feel inferior to something, and through that inferior position achieve or gain something. And even when I feel like I am the same that the other person, is also some kind of conceit. So we have to be very patient with this. Conceit arises at any moment in our mind that we think that that experience is me, mine, or myself. Of course, we have to apply the 6 R's immediately. From conceit, we have arrogance and vanity. Arrogance is, of course, the feeling of being superior to anyone. And it's a very destructive feeling, because generally people who have who has the arrogance as a habitual tendency at some point go to the other side and feel victim about something. So it's a bipolar uh, situation. And vanity is the same thing, but sometimes vanity is more regarding to our body, to our how we are looking, how we look, if we are beautiful or not, or if we are elegant or not. And this kind of uh, feeling is frivolous, and also is in direct opposition to the Tilakana triple knowledge. I am impermanent or unstable, so uh, I am going to I am going to age, have old age, because the time passed for everyone, and I will get ill at some point. And this is all generally regarding that we have some deep attachment to our body. Then we have negligence, is an imperfection that defiles the mind. Negligence is related to sloth and torpor, and is sometimes the lack of diligence. I don't have diligence in some aspect, and I do I I do the things, I do my work, but I don't pay attention enough. And then it's happened uh, a lot of things that are not comfortable, because my lack of attention, my lack of diligence, uh, are so present in my mind that I can apply right effort. Generally, negligence is rooted in this aspect of the sloth and torpor, that, oh, I don't feel that I don't want to do it. Uh, Sometimes it's very subtle, this feeling. The mind feels a little stiff, and I do the things without interest. And so it's really important to pay attention when this arises, because generally is uh, after that arises the justification. I don't want to do this because blah 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 blah, and this will go into strength, this negligence, this sloth and torpor. So when we apply the 6 R's, we put some interest in whatever that we are doing, meditating or cooking or whatever it may be, and then this eventually will disappear. So the next part, when the Buddha says, when a bhikkhu has known the covetousness, all the 16 imperfections, uh, that defiles and has abandoned it, he acquires unwavering confidence in the Buddha this, and then describes the Buddha. This is the standard formula for this, the description of the Buddha. So when this happened, it happened all. He acquires unwavering confidence in the Dhamma this. The Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One, visible here and now, immediately effective, inviting inspection, onward leading to be experienced by the wise for themselves. He acquires confidence in the Sangha this. The Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is practicing the good way, practicing the straight way, practicing the true way, practicing the proper way. That is, the four pair of persons, the eight type of individuals, the Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples is worthy of gift, worthy of hospitality, worthy of offering, worthy of reverential salutations, the unsurpassed field of merit for the world. So here, uh, the Buddha describes that a disciple who acquires this confidence, unwavering confidence in the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Here is this is the description of someone who at least has entered in the stream, a sotapanna, and this is very important because when someone has the experience of the enter the stream, these three things appears in their mind as, like the sutta says, is unwavering confidence in the Buddha, that he was the man who discovered the path. The Dhamma is his teaching that lead us to Nibbana, to the cessation of suffering, and the Sangha, that is the people who uh, collect the teachings and preserve it, and they teach the Dhamma as the Buddha teaches, as the Buddha taught. So we have here that when someone let let that let go these 16 imperfections, and the practitioner repeats over and over again this through the right efforts, through the 6 hours, the people gradually will be liberated from many of these imperfections. Dependent upon which we are liberated, uh, that have relation with the 10 fetter model. So, for example, here says the practicing the proper way, that is the four pair of persons and the eight type of individuals. The four pairs of persons and the eight type of individual are the same. The eight type of individuals are the Sotapanna and the Sotapanna with fruition, the Sakadagami and the Sakadagami with fruition, the Anagami and the Agami with fruition, and the Arahant and the Arahant with fruition. That is the eight types of individual. So when he has given up, expelled, released, abandoned, and relinquished the imperfection of the mind in part, he considered this: I am possessed of unwavering confidence in the Buddha, and he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. When he is glad, rapture is born in him. In one who is rapturous, the body becomes tranquil. On whose body is tranquil feels pleasure, in one who feels pleasure, the minds became collected. And then repeat this regarding the Dhamma and regarding the Sangha. So, uh, this is really important because we have here that something that is related with the last sutta that I in the last Dhamma talk, because here the Buddha said that I am possessed of unwavering confidence in the Buddha, and he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness. Again, pamoja arises, appears, connected with the Dhamma. So when I start to practice the Dhamma, I feel gladness. And then because he or she is glad, rapture, piti arise in the mind. And then with the rapturous mind, the body becomes tranquil, and whose body is tranquil feel pleasure, and one who feels pleasure, the mind become collected. So again, we have this uh, chain of conditions that give us a clear instruction of what is the process in which the mind finally or eventually become collected. And we can make a relation with the first statement on the Buddha, of the Buddha, that is, so too when the mind is undefiled, a happy destination may be expected. So we can apply this and this statement to this process that maybe is more specific about the meditation. When I feel confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, that is said that I remember the first step of the Noble Path, that there are causes, and conditions, and that will give the fruit of that shares some characteristic, this rise in the mind, right intention. Right intention is I am secluded in my own mind. I take responsibility of my mind. So the mind is stable in itself. And this is uh, fueled by a loving kindness intention with a compassionate intention. So because this, the second step of the Noble Path, are what I have in mind, is my intention, and I apply before the meditation this perspective. So the gladness will arise, the rapture will arise, and so on and so forth. So it's very important to remember previous to the meditation or previous to any task that we do during the day, this perspective. Uh, He considers this, the imperfection of the mind have in part been given up. So this is very important because here we don't talk about an arahant. It's talk about a seka. Seka is a bhikkhu or a person who is a trainee. This is a description of the sotapa from a sotapanna to anagami or arahant without the fruition. And having parts being given up, expelled, released, abandoned, and relinquished by me, and he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. When he is glad, rapture is born in him. In one who is rapturous, the body becomes tranquil, on whose body is tranquil feels pleasure. In one who feels pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. So, uh, let's continue. Bhikkhus. If a bhikkhu of such virtue, such state of collectedness, and such wisdom eats alms food, consisting of choice hill rice along with various sauces and curries, even that will be no obstacle for him, just as a cloth that is defiled and stained becomes pure and bright with the help of clear water, or just as gold becomes pure and bright with the help of a furnace, so too, if a bhikkhu of such virtue eats alms food, that will be no obstacle for him. So we have here an interesting statement. The Buddha is saying that from for a Sikha, for a disciple who at least has experienced the entering of the stream, if a bhikkhu is have such virtues, or a person who has such virtue and such state of collectedness and such wisdom, they could eat anything or uh, experience anything in any of the uh, sixfold bases, and do not attach to that, because they understand that this, for example, here is that given an excellent example of uh, a very tasteful meal. And during that moment that we are eating, we can enjoy the flavors. But when this flavor disappear, the mind is still mindful and doesn't want to revisit that flavor again. They don't linger on that flavor. So that mind understand that it's just a pleasant feeling and nothing else. And for that reason, that mind doesn't crave for the continuity, for the permanence of that flavor. And then said this, he advised pervading one quarter with the mind imbued with loving kindness, likewise the second, the third, the fourth, so above, below, around, and everywhere. And to all as to himself he was pervading the all-encompassing world with the mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. And the same formula is for compassion, for altruistic joy, and equanimity. So this is very important because, again, the Buddhists give us the a very clear instruction here. What is a good or wholesome state of mind? Any of the four Brahma Viharas. If we have, if we are train ourselves to return to our mind to any of the four Brahma Viharas, and we cultivate this state of mind, this will lead us to eventually, gradually, to Nibbana. And then he said this, he understands this. There is the inferior, there is the superior, and beyond there is an escape from this whole field of perception. Well, this is a deep statement. Here, again, I think that the Buddha is referring to the aspect of conceit. Again, I think that the Buddha is giving here and the previous uh, paragraph gives some advices to how to uh, work with these impurities, how to let go these impurities, and is give us the instructions to where our mind uh, has to be, what is our object of meditation. And in this paragraph in particular, there is the inferior, there is the superior, and beyond there is an escape from this whole field of perception. So there is there is the inferior, there is the superior. Here is conceit again, manas. The mind is also creating or building or fabricating a concept like cells. This is this, that, superior, inferior, and beyond there is an escape from this whole field of perception. So there is something that transcends this scope, this perspective. So the world of the in which we compare things, we calculate things, we try to be something else that we are not in the present moment, is the world of craving, is samsara. So samsara is the world of the that I want to produce something because what I am in the present moment, I don't feel happy with that, and I want to be be in another way or get something or win something or whatever it might be. So this is the samsaric. Samsara is a place, but samsara is also a, a way in which our minds works. I think that we can see from the angle of there is a samsaric way of the mind and there is a nibbanic way of the mind. When we train jhanas, we are putting our intention in a nibbanic way. We just let it go, let it go. We train ourselves in the release. We train and we mature the release over and over again through the 6 R's. Because we train ourselves with the 6 R's with right effort, our release matures. And when the release is matures, we go to experience Nibbana, the liberation. When he knows and sees this, his mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, from the taint of pain, from the taint of ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge. It is liberated, he understands. Birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. Bhikkhus, this bhikkhus is called one bathed with their inner bathing. So here is the declaration of the Arahant. The Arahant lets go the taint of sensual desire, the taint of pain, see the taint of Baba, and the taint of ignorance. And he understands, so he is aware of his own achievement. And it's beautiful, the last sentences. This bhikkhu is called one bathed with the inner bathing. So he take a bath from inside out. Now on that occasion, the Brahmin Sundarika Bharadwaja was sitting not far from the Blessed One. Then he said to the Blessed One, but does Master Gautama go to the Bahuka River to bath? Why Brahmin go to the Bahuka River? Why can the Bahuka River do? Master Gautama, the Bahuka River is held by many to give liberation. It is held by many to give merit, and many wash away their evil actions in the Bahuka River. Then the Blessed One addressed the Brahmin Sundarika in stanzas. Bahuka and Adhikaka, Gaya and Sundarika too, Payaga and Sarasati, and the stream Bahumati, a fool may there forever bath, yet will not purify dark deeds. So it's very important. Here is mentioned different rivers. I think that some of these rivers are from the heavens, for the celestial realms. And here is clearly the Buddha said that anyone who took a bath in a river, they don't liberate it from any of their dark deeds. So that I think is very beautiful. The previous stanza, he's liberated from for because he take an inner bath. What can the Sundarika brings to pass? What the Payaga, what the Bahuka? They cannot purify an evildoer, a man who has done cruel and brutal deeds. So, in the time of the Buddha, and even now, many people think that if they took a bath in some river or pond or even in a fall, they will somehow cleaning their own karma. The Buddha is just with this sutta describing that that is only a superstition. One pure in heart has evermore the feast of spring, the holiday, one fair in act, one pure in heart, bring his virtue to perfection. So, uh, the purity of the heart and the purity of the virtue, so the precepts and have a heart imbued in loving kindness are real important things in the development of our path. It's here, Brahmin, what you should bath. So we should bath in this uh, characteristic of loving kindness and behavior and mindfulness. To make, oh, not only loving kindness, compassion, uh, altruistic joy, and equanimity too. To make yourself a refuge for all beings. This is really beautiful stanza because you don't have to defend from anyone. You have to radiate this loving kindness to any being. And I remember, I remember, I saw years ago an interview to teach Nat Han, and a person asked him uh, about loving kindness and what is. And I remember that the person asked him, "What what happened is someone is trying to harm me in a physical way." So Teacher Han give him a very good answer. First of all, he said, first you have to be very aware of your thoughts and intentions. Are your mind imbued with love and kindness? I not remember if this is what this if this uh, was the exact answer, but I remember this aspect that Thich Nhat Hanh said you have to defend yourself, but your mind have to uh, be in a very gentle way, because many times we have no awareness of our mindset. We are in a very bad mood, and we think or we believe that that bad mood is we are the only people in the room that know that I am a bad mood, but our faces, our gestures, our the tone of our voice are witness, show, manifest this bad mood. And this, if we don't careful, we spread this bad mood through our gesture, through our tone, through our face to everyone. It's really easy, it's really contagious, the the ill will. So if we are aware of our mind, where is our mind? The possibility of a conflict reduces a lot. I I feel I experienced this many times. Maybe in some other video I tell the story. And if you speak no falsehood, nor work harm for living beings, nor take what is offered not, here is about the this defilement of deceive, and the other one was I don't remember now the word this oh here fraud, deceit and fraud. So do not tell lies. With faith and free from avarice, be generous. What need for you to go to Gaia? For any well will be your Gaia. Beautiful, beautiful. Uh, what is the necessity to go to any river to purify yourself? Just right effort. Let it go. Your your hindrances in your mind. Let it go. The defilement. Relax, smile, and return to your object of meditation. And that will be your own river, your own Gaia. So, this is part of the second step of the noble path, the reclusion, the seclusion of the mind. You have to be responsible of your state of mind. When this was said, the Brahmin Sundarika Bharadwaja said, Magnificent Master Gotama, magnificent Master Gotama. Master Gotama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overthrown, revealing what it was hiding, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go to Master Gotama for refuge, and to the Dhamma and to the Sangha of Bhikkhus. I would receive the going forth under Master Gotama, I would receive the full admission. And the Brahmin Sundarika Bharadwaja received the going forth under the Blessed One, and he received the full admission. And soon, not longer after his full admission, dwelling alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent, and resolute, the Venerable Bharadwaja, by releasing for himself with direct knowledge here and now, entered upon and abided in that supreme goal of the holy life, for the sake of which clansmen rightly go forth from the home life into the homelessness. He directly knew birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there is no more coming to any state of being. And the Venerable Bharadwaja became one of the arahants. So I hope you enjoyed this uh, sutta. And now, sorry, we can share merit. Uh, Wait a minute. Here. All right. We can share merit now. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May thy grieving shed all grief, may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we had thus acquired for the acquisition of all kind of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May the long protect the Buddha dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, and metta for everyone.